my journey in the past couple of years has been strongly in like the music industry in LA and networking, and it's a funny little space, you know, with the promoters and the artists, and it's like there's so many characters, and finding the genuine people out of the whole bunch. You know, I'm not necessarily like looking. I think it's just a matter of like, as I progress through this landscape, they kind of naturally just like stick around, and those relationships, I try to make sure that I am, for one, communicative, and for two, like, I try to make sure that I get opportunities to as many of those people that I see working hard as possible. If every artist worked together and really was supportive of one another, and was like, yo, like, let's all just like share this network, this wealth of like, you know, these platforms are available and like these options are available. If we were all sharing like that, it'd be hard to see anyone fail. I think everyone would be so uplifted by everyone else. Something as small as like another artist being like, yo, like, I love your verse, like, I want to get on a track with you, whatever, is like, it's cool, man. That's a cool thing. And that's just like an act of like, you know, expressing some form of like, I appreciate what you do, I value what you do, and I want you to keep doing it. That's where I'm at right now with trying to like put love into the world of like my network of friends and acquaintances and maybe like newer friends, you know.
Something that I think about a lot, especially in having these conversations with different people about love, is a lot of times we kind of think about love. It's like, well, for what? What are we getting out of this? What are they getting out of this? It's like an exchange, but in theory, I don't think that's what love is. I don't think love is transactional. I think like having love for someone means that you can give them love or show them love and not want anything back. You know, you talk about networking. That in itself it sets you up for the expectation that this is a transaction. Like, we're networking so that we can figure out ways to work together.
Yeah.
But not everybody's there with your best interests. They're like, you know, they're like quite outwardly to use you for their own gain, and you might consent because you can use them back, right? We're talking about the music industry, but that we're talking about relationships, period. I think like, we're like, okay, is this a relationship where this is transactional, or is this like a situation where like, no, you know what, I care about this person and they care about me, or maybe like you don't even think about if they care about you. You're just like, I care about this person, right? Like, I guess, you know, tying it back to like parenting as a metaphor, right? You know your kids care about you, but does that really matter for you to care about them? Do you think it's just like, as men, it's like harder for us to express that, or like we're just pulled in a lot of different directions as men, right? Like, you know, you have to provide, you know, you have 2 jobs right now. I feel like the work is a main thing. I think with men, like, we feel all this pressure to
gotta
work.
grind. You gotta grind. Yeah.
It becomes really difficult to really show up for others the way that you want, and maybe the ways that you show love won't be seen because you are pulled in all these different ways. I mean, I'm personally, I feel like I'm mostly okay with that until we reach a point of conflict where it's like, but I have been, but it just hasn't been seen. And I think like probably in your romantic relationships that these kind of things come up, right? I'm sure you showed love to your partners in ways that they didn't see it because maybe it's not what they asked for, but that was what you were wanting, or maybe that's all you were able to do at that moment.
I mean, again, I think communication, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but it's the biggest thing. I think it's weird. Cassie and I have experienced a lot of like, damn, you guys are really like, you guys are a cute couple. You guys like people we just met. I'm just like, how do you know? You don't know us. Like, what do you?
It's the aura, right?
It's the vibe, clearly. But I think it's something that was easy for us, which is kind of crazy. But I think also it's something that we've worked on. I still remember like our very, very first fight. That's really the only fight I pretty much remember with her. And it was about like something she clocked. You know, women have their like, sometimes they could just clock shit. Long story short, like there was a friend at the time and he was essentially just using me and just like taking advantage of me. I didn't see it. I was like, why would you like talk about the homie
Cassie
like
clocked
that?
it. Cassie was like,
fucking clocked it instantly, bro. Like first day or two of me meeting him, she clocked it. It's like, why would you talk about my friend like that? She was talking to her friend on the phone and got into an argument about it. Again, not a big fight, but really the only one I can remember. And then, you know, long story short, I ended up finally fucking realizing, like, yeah, this dude is fucking not it. And yeah, I was like, damn, the whole time she was right. But we had the communication style of, hey, here's what I think. I respect your opinion. Like, I'm not gonna be crazy about it, but I respect that he's your friend. And we were able to talk about it and move on from that. And one of the biggest things is you being okay with disagreeing with somebody and still loving them and still being there for them and not being like, oh, see, I fucking told you so, you know, and not wanting to do that either, and just hoping like, I hope they get out of this unscathed, because it's gonna happen, but I hope like it's not bad. That's where everything else falls into play. Once the communication's open, it's like, hey, I need you to actually do these things for me, and vice versa, you know. But if that road of communication isn't there, or you're just shut off from it, it's just not gonna happen.
That was your only one real fight that you could think
Honestly,
of?
we've been together for like 10 years. We've maybe fought like less than 5 times. Like, it's
Crazy.
not a lot.
That is a testament to communication.
Y'all
sure.
are well-adjusted adults.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, and it was, I mean, I was young too when I met her. I was like 22, 23. But I think what's the word I'm looking for? We matched up with each other really well, in the sense of like her strengths and my strengths. You know what I mean? Like, she even pointed out, she was like, a lot of your friends are like fucking loud. And I was like, I looked at it, I mean, she's fucking loud. Like, and I was like, you know what, you're right. Like, I'm an introvert, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, a lot of my best friends are like fucking loud, and it's just like, we just compliment. That's the word I was looking for. We compliment each other, and that's what it is. And I think with our relationship as well, like, we compliment each other. Like, she's definitely like the loud, boisterous, like, and I'm like cool, calm, collected type, and you know, it just works together. We find like a balance in the middle. And she had her shit together too. Like, I do want to say that, but that communication is clear because we're able to communicate and collaborate on goals, because it was like, hey, here's what I'm trying to do with my life, like X, Y, and Z. Like, okay, like, I could take a pause here to help you out with that. And then when you're ready, here's what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm trying to put the studio together. Okay, cool. I could take a pause there to help you out with that. And because we communicated it at the beginning, you know, nothing's really a surprise.
I want to ask you, do you ever, like, with you and Cassie, are you ever like wrong and you know it?
Oh yeah.
How hard is it for you to like go back and like apologize?
It's actually really not.
Really?
It's really, honestly, like, I'll straight up, like, yeah, you're right. Straight up. Like, when I'm wrong, like, I have no problem admitting, like, yeah, that was not it. Like,
there's no hesitation. You're just like in the moment. Like, do you ever catch yourself in the moment being wrong and like stand on your wrongness for a second?
I think I learned earlier, not with her, but earlier in my life, like, it makes it so much worse when you do that, because it's like, fuck, now it starts creeping into, I feel it physically, you know, because I'm just like, I start
that
tensing
physical,
up.
That physical feeling for sure. Like, when I notice that I'm wrong, it's definitely a physical feeling where I'm like, oh shit, I am wrong.
Yes.
Fuck.
But it sounds like you're struggling with that, or no? Because
I think
it's
it
such a good
depends on
question.
who though too,
Yeah.
because with her, I love her, right? I'm going to be like, you're absolutely right. I want to have that conversation with somebody I don't really care about. I could give a fuck.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
You know, like, you could know I'm wrong, and I can be like, fuck it.
Well, but I guess the seriousness of somebody you don't care about, it makes it kind of irrelevant, right?
For me and my wife, there have been a few times lately, and just like full disclosure, like with what I've gone through in the past like year, I have anger problems, and I'm not like throwing things, like breaking shit or like screaming or anything like that. I'm not aggressive in that way, but I snap. I get triggered at times for certain conversations where like my response will be snappy. So there have been some times where like I've snapped on Corey, and like in the moment of me snapping, I know I'm wrong, but it's also I just catch myself a little too late or whatever it is. I'll like stand on it for a second and then I'll like take a breath and then I'll come back in and like I'm not gonna say it's hard, but it's like an emotional moment to be like, hey, I am sorry that I snapped. Like that wasn't right. You know, to be able to take accountability in that moment, you know, whether it's like when it's happening or like 5 minutes later, to be able to like come back into the room if it's tense or whatever and just be like, hey, I was wrong and I'm really sorry.
Can we
like,
normalize that too? Like being able to step away and be like, because it's difficult to like take index of your emotions while the thing is happening.
Yeah.
So I think it's also like that's a huge like, and it's a good practice of like, hey, like now that I've taken a breath, like X, Y, and Z, like I feel like not a lot of people either do that, and some people once you leave it's like, oh, you're just gonna leave, you don't want to face the conversation, but sometimes you need to. It's more healthy to do that than it is to like stand there and just stand in it.
That's why I'm so glad you brought this up, because like this is such an important, because even like you saying that you snapped, right? I think a lot of times people will hear that and be like, I don't want to hear this. This is triggering, because
Yes.
because snapping can be very like really a serious thing for people in certain situations, right? But the fact that you're able to have that emotional like intelligence to like process this, like, oh, I know this is wrong. Maybe in this moment right now, like my pride won't let me admit it, but give me some time, and I'm gonna come back and take accountability for that. I think the problem is a lot of times people never do that.
Yes.
I have a friend that I grew up with that we butt heads ideologically a lot, where like he recently came to me with this realization about himself, was like, I realized that there was a lot of things where I had to be right. And I had to force myself to be right in these situations where you just kind of, you make the lie bigger and bigger. This is such an important thing to not only normalize, but for like men to, I think, to talk about, because I think it is, of course, women go through this too, but I think with men, it's more of a pattern where our pride makes it so that we have to not feel wrong in this moment. And the biggest missing piece that a lot of people don't do is the accountability part. Be like, you know what? There's a consequence to double downing when you're wrong. And most people, most men especially, are going to be like, well, I'm never going to pay that consequence because I'm going to just keep double downing.
Part of it is like sometimes we feel like we owe it to ourselves to make sure that we're right. Sometimes we feel like it's like, nah, like I deserve to be right in this moment. It's not like a super front of your mind thought. I think it's more subconscious, but it's like, no, I like, you know, I've earned this, or like I deserve this, or like I owe it to myself to make sure that I'm spoken up for. And it's like you kind of mask things and brush things under the rug when you do that a little bit. I feel like it's good to just like have self-awareness, some humility, to understand that sometimes it's okay to be wrong. I'm not going to sit here and make you think that like I know everything or that I'm very sure about a lot of things. You know, there's a lot of things I don't know, and that's okay. I think being aware of that and being okay with not knowing everything all the time, and it's something that I really value in people, is their ability to be wrong and be teachable. And I try to make sure that I stay in that zone also to still be teachable. I have a lot to learn still. I also have a lot to share and a lot of wisdom to give, but I'm not afraid of being wrong and growing from it. And I think that's something that like I would hope that we can all take away from this conversation or whatever, just moving forward. If we could all be a little bit more teachable, I think the world would be a better place.
That part.
Normalize being wrong, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that just goes into like being okay with failing too, right? And it's kind of the same, different sides of the same coin. Like maybe it's partially social media to blame, but like people feel like they have to get it right the first time and it's got to be perfect. It makes it difficult for people to just try things and to be vulnerable, right? Because, you know, fear of saying something saying the wrong thing and appearing dumb, but just circling the topics of love, like just being open to communication, being patient with people. Not everybody's on the same timeline. It takes some people a little bit longer to come around to certain ideals, and you might not be willing to wait that long, and you can communicate that. Or you could be willing to wait that long, and you could also communicate that. So just reiterating, like, it's really about communication for me, and then showing through actions like what you're trying to communicate.
And love isn't perfect, right? So like,
Ever evolving.
we're gonna be wrong, we're gonna make mistakes, we're gonna fail, but ultimately it's worthwhile, right?